What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Big Fight Field channel. This is your season recap for the Miami Dolphins, and holy shit, we've got so much to talk about. Thank goodness that I had off work today because it's snowing in South Jersey, and if I had work today, I wouldn't get home till 4 o'clock. I wouldn't have had the time to get all this stuff off my chest about this team. Um, there's so much that happened last night that we didn't even get a chance to talk about that we're going to talk about today. I'm just I'm so I'm so over this, man. I'm so over the fact that mediocrity is fucking okay with this organization. I'm so over the fact that the owner of this team does not care about its fan base, and that they're not as less concerned of winning as we are. You want to know why they're not concerned about winning? This: the money. The culture sucks. Players want out. It's all about this team's about we, and it's not about this team's all about me. It's not about we. All the players are for themselves. I've got so many examples of it, man. I'm just so I'm so happy that this season's over and now we're in the off season. The off season's off to a terrible start, and this is the last Dolphins video for me until free agency. If you guys don't know how I run things over on the Big Fight Field channel right here, this is going to be the last video for a long time. We do the season recap. We go over everything that happened in the season, as long as a couple additional things, what to look forward to and what not. It's going to be a long video, and then we'll get back at it with what happens in free agency like we did last year, the NFL draft, the schedule being released, and then we literally wait until preseason to start. So that's how we do Dolphins content. For the meantime, what do I do here on the Big Fight Field channel? I'm a massive professional wrestling fan. We do wrestling content all day, every day. Not all day, but most of the time, from January till the end of August, until it's football season. We do wrestling content. We do 76ers content. So that's what we're going to be doing here on the channel for the next 8 months, until our Dolphins give us another mediocre of a season. But we've got so much to get into today. I really don't want to waste much more time. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe to the Big Fight Field channel. I'll be back tonight talking over Monday Night Raw, debuting on Netflix tonight from the Intuit Dome in Los Angeles. Pay-per-view vibes tonight. It's expected to be over 3.5 hours, which I think that's a little bit too long for a Monday night. I mean, people got to work tomorrow and all that stuff, but it should be fun nonetheless. I'm very excited. I think it's going to be a great show, and we are going to dive into that all tonight. So be sure to subscribe to the channel. I got some fun things planned for 2025. Last year, we did WrestleMania. We were in Alabama for Alabama, Georgia. Of course, we were at the Dolphins game. And we did a couple other things too, man. So 2025, I've got some plans, and I'm hoping it's going to be a great, fun year of content here on the Big Fight Field channel. Literally starting tonight. Looking forward to tonight a lot. I'm happy to put this shit to bed for the next couple weeks until free agency starts, and then we'll get back at it with free agency. So I might as well start with Grier and Mcdaniel because it's the biggest thing that happened last night for the Dolphins organization. We might as well start with that. And I'll tell you too that I'm not surprised. And there is a ton of backlash with this because there's nearly more comments on this post than there are likes. There is 30 3,400 likes and nearly 2,300 comments. I was baffled. I'm not shocked, but I mean, some fans were stunned. And I mean, like, literally pissed off. And I'm pissed off too, but this was coming. So this was a statement from uh, owner Stephen Ross last night. I want to thank the players and coaches for their hard work throughout the 2024 season, as well as the fans for their support. Bullshit. As the owner of this team, I am ultimately accountable for our success and failures. We fell short of our expectations this season, and I understand and share in the frustration of our performance on the field. This line right here, this is what matters. As we now look towards 2025, our football operations will continue to be led by Chris Grier and Mike McDaniel with my full support. Their positive working relationship is an asset to the Dolphins, and I believe in the value of stability. However, continuity in leadership is not to be confused with an acceptance that status quo is good enough. We will take a hard look at where we have fallen short and make the necessary changes to deliver our ultimate goal of building a sustaining and winning team that competes for championships. Well, number one, Mr. Ross. Number one, we're going to look hard to see where we have fallen short. Yeah, you know where you have fallen short the last fucking 10 years with the Miami Dolphins? Chris Grier as general manager. We will make the necessary changes. Brother, you had the opportunity to make the necessary changes, getting Grier the fuck out of here, and you didn't do that. Why? Because you're too fucking loyal. That's why. A positive working environment. This team cares more about a positive working environment. We haven't won a fucking playoff game in 25 years. Yet we're over here praising a positive working environment between our head coach and our general manager. Mr. Ross, fuck off. You need to sell the team. Awesome. So I don't know when the end of the year press conference is going to be, but I'm guaranteeing you they're going to blame it on Tua being injured. They're going to blame this season on Tua Tagovailoa being injured and be like, well, if he had just played, if he didn't get injured in the beginning of the year and he was available in the beginning of the season, we would be in the playoffs, which honestly is true. But that is going to be where the blame of the season goes, and the blame of the season is on none other than Chris Grier, Mike McDaniel, and Tua Tagovailoa. All three of them have a hand in all of this. Not just one, not just two, all three of them. Chris Grier, for the way this team's built, if you're going into the offseason, right? If you're going into the offseason and your number one priority is getting a backup quarterback, you don't have your franchise quarterback. Ladies and gentlemen, our franchise quarterback is not in the building right now. He's not a part of the team right now. He could be on another team. He could be in college. I don't know. But our franchise quarterback is not on the roster right now. And that was made very clear after this season. And the way Chris Grier orchestrated this roster going into this season, no depth at all on the offensive line and on defense. No depth. Just look at what happens after Kendall Fuller goes down. Opposing defenses picked on Storm Duck all day. All day. So, no depth at all. Old players. This team is not young at all. Going into this season, the Miami Dolphins were the oldest team in the NFL. So, no youth at all from this team. Who's that on? That's on Chris Grier. That's on Chris Grier. And then also, what happened this past offseason was a fucking travesty. I didn't expect you to pay Christian Wilkins the money he was expecting. And we were much better off with Calais Campbell and Zach Sealer. But letting players like Robert Hunt and Andrew Van Ginkel walk was unacceptable. You didn't even offer them a contract. Robert Hunt is now one of the best guards in the NFL. He didn't miss a game this year for the Carolina Panthers. Andrew Van Ginkel, for the first time in his career, is a Pro Bowler. They were talking all about him last night on the Sunday night broadcast. Chris Grier has had his moments, but he's ultimately failed the Miami Dolphins year after year after year after year. And as long as he is drafting the players, and as long as he is the general manager of this team's going nowhere. They're going nowhere, but exactly where they are. And where they are is on the cusp of missing the playoffs. Let's talk about Mike McDaniel. Mike McDaniel has had the same problems the past 3 fucking years. He doesn't adjust. He doesn't adjust to opposing teams and what they're throwing at him. He didn't adjust his first year. He didn't adjust his second year. And he sure as hell didn't adjust the third year. There's no way in the beginning of the season, there's no way that Tua goes down. So you go from Tua to Skylar Thompson and Tyler Huntley. There's no way you can run the same offense that you do with Tua with your backups. Mike McDaniel ran the same offense with Skylar Thompson and Tyler Huntley, and he was proven then that he can't coach. He's not a good coach. That's when I knew Mike McDaniel is not a head coach. He's a coordinator. He failed this team this season, in the beginning of the season, in games against Seattle, against Tennessee, and against Indianapolis. He failed. He flat out failed. And he doesn't win against against good teams. I think he's got a record of like 3-13 or something like that against teams over 500 in the last 5 years. Or not, I'm sorry, 3 years against winning teams. I have to go back and fast track on this one. 0-1, 0-2, 0-3, 1-3 because they beat the Rams, 1-4, 1-5. Mike McDaniel was 1-5 this year against teams over 500. Lost to Buffalo twice, lost to Seattle, lost to Green Bay, lost to Houston. The guy just doesn't get it done against big-time opponents when they need it the most. You need him to go on the road in Green Bay in the freezing cold and get a win, they get their fucking ass whooped. You need them to go on the road in Houston and get a big-time win. Nope. Shit the bed. 4 turnovers from the offense. Horrible play calling all day. Can't get the ball to Tyreek Hill. Can't get the ball to Waddle. And his play calling has seriously regressed. Seriously regressed. This team used to be so fun to watch, man. They were amazing. I will never forget last year from week 1 to about week 13. How amazing it was to watch the Miami Dolphins. How fun it was to watch the Miami Dolphins. What have they become? What have they become in front of our eyes? I'm not familiar with this team. This team's far from last year. And I'll tell you what, they collapsed last year. They were 11-6, ended up getting the 6th seed and lost in the first round. Ladies and gentlemen, that's your peak with Mike McDaniel and Tua Tagovailoa. With those two up top, with those two as the face of the organization, that's your peak. Going 11-6 and losing round 1 in the playoffs. That's your peak. That's their peak. We might never see them win a playoff game. I'm telling you right now, they will never win a playoff game with Mike McDaniel. This team's not tough. This team's fucking soft. This team shits the bed when it's cold outside. This team shits the bed when they have to play a good team. They're a bunch of frauds. We have a fraudulent head coach who's probably lost the locker room. Who knows what's been going on the past couple weeks? We don't fucking know. It's an absolute shit show. And this nerd has ruined the Miami Dolphins. He's ruined us. And he showed a lot of promise after the first year. And the second year came. And he collapsed at the end of the season. But this year, his third year, was by far his worst year as a head coach for the Miami Dolphins. He's not a leader of men. He's supposed to be in here to be the head fucking coach. We didn't get him here to coach Tua Tagovailoa. We got him here to coach the Miami Dolphins. And that's what he's not doing. He needs to look at himself in the mirror and he needs to fucking fix his fucking offense. He needs to realize his offense fucking sucks. And that he needs to be better. And that he needs to come up better against good fucking teams. Because I'm sick and tired of sitting here on Sundays when they're playing a good team. When they're playing the Bills. When they're playing the Ravens. When they're playing the Texans. And they fucking poop the bed every time. Enough's enough. And then Tua. We're not going to win a Super Bowl with Tua at quarterback. I'm sorry. And he's not our franchise quarterback. I love Tua. When he's on the field, he's damn good. He's really good when he's on the field. But the problem is, he's not on the field. He's been the quarterback of this team for 5 years now. And he's had one healthy season. Shocker. The one healthy season that Tua's had was his contract year. Last year, he was playing for a contract, man. One healthy year, he got the bag. Got himself, you see him on the sidelines yesterday, he looked disinterested. That was a terrible look for someone who's supposed to be your franchise quarterback. On the sideline with a puffy jacket on with glasses, sunglasses. Why the fuck are you wearing sunglasses in the dark? A terrible look from our quarterback. But you can't trust Tua Tagovailoa. You can't trust him to stay healthy. So the Dolphins, their biggest priority this offseason is getting a backup quarterback. So when he does get hurt next season, we're ready to pluck somebody in that's been there and done that right in the offense. Somebody like Andy Dalton. Somebody like Cooper Rush. Jameis Winston. Joe Flacco if he doesn't want to retire yet. We need a veteran backup. Snoop Huntley's not the answer. If they want to keep Snoop Huntley and have him compete for the backup with whoever we bring in, by all means, that's perfectly fine. But we need a good, reliable backup. And the first name I think of is Jameis Winston. Jameis Winston's a dog. Jameis Winston would spark this team. Jameis Winston is someone that I could easily cheer for. Jameis Winston is somebody, if Tua gets hurt, I don't have to be like, oh shit, our season's fucking over. Because that's exactly how I felt after week 2 when Tua went down. Oh shit, Skylar Thompson's our starting quarterback. Our season's fucking over. You can't trust Tua to stay healthy for a full season. You can't do it. Because he's not trustworthy. Let's talk Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill wants out of Miami. Tyreek Hill is fed up. I think this has been building up for the entire season. This has been building up for the entire season. Tyreek Hill, he wants out of Miami. He said it yesterday to Miami local reporters. He changed his profile to the Antonio Brown peace sign, him leaving in the middle of the game. But without Antonio Brown's face, he's got his face in there. He wants out. And quite frankly, to be honest with you, I don't blame him. Mike McDaniel has ruined. He's wasted this season. He's wasted Tyreek Hill's career. Not before this year, the last 2 years, Tyreek has had his best careers with the Miami Dolphins. But this year, he's had his worst. He's had his best career at the Miami Dolphins, but he's had his worst career with the Miami Dolphins. This season, didn't get 1,000 yards, and the failure to get the football in the hands of Tyreek Hill when Tua Tagovailoa was not on the field is fucking sad. Even when Tua was on the field, this man got 3 catches for 16 yards against the Rams. He was a ghost against Buffalo. He dropped passes against San Francisco. Yes, he was a ghost against Houston. He has every right to be upset. You don't have a guy like Tyreek Hill blocking for most of the game. You have that motherfucker running down the field, get wide ass open so he can break one and score a touchdown. That's Tyreek Hill. And this season, Mike McDaniel has failed Tyreek Hill. Unbelievable that this organization has a player, a generational player like Tyreek Hill, and they've wasted him. They've wasted Tyreek Hill here in Miami. So, if Tyreek doesn't want to be here anymore, if Tyreek wants to go to another team, I would let him. I would let him. He does not deserve this. And I'm not surprised that it didn't take this long. Going from an organization like the Kansas City Chiefs, who is full of class, they win championships, they're in the playoffs every year, to go from that to a dumpster fire of an organization like the Miami Dolphins. This was going to happen. This would never happen if Tyreek was on the Kansas City Chiefs or a higher tier organization. The Miami Dolphins are a bottom 5 organization in the NFL. They are a complete mess with their front office. So Tyreek Hill, I'm on Tyreek's side. I'm on Tyreek's side. I am. It's a shame how bad of a year he had, but he was dealing with a wrist injury. And, you know, I wish him all the best. If this is his time, if yesterday was the last time we see Tyreek Hill in a Dolphins jersey, you know, I'm going to miss him, because Tyreek Hill on the Dolphins was some of the most fun moments I've ever watched as a Dolphins fan. His performance last year against the Chargers was fucking legendary. The Broncos game, breaking one off the first play of the game. Some of the other games last year too, man. Just seeing Tyreek Hill streaking down the field, running past defenders, and Tua launching 60-yard bombs. That's some of the best moments I've ever had watching the Miami Dolphins. How the fuck are they going to replace a player like him? You don't replace Tyreek Hill. You get worse. So, they failed. They have failed Tyreek Hill this season. They failed him. And if Tyreek wants out, I would give him his wishes and let him see where he wants to go next. Find the best trading partner that you have for Tyreek Hill. If they want to trade a 3rd round pick, a 5th round pick, and another player for Tyreek, fucking do it. Do it. So, that's it. That's all I got. I basically went over the season in this video. The season was 8-9. Again, they can't beat good teams. They beat up on the shitty teams. Their only good win this season was against the Rams on Monday night. That was by far their best year on the season. And losing to Arizona, up 9 points in the 4th quarter, is the reason why they're not in the playoffs. And then losing to the Colts, it's another reason you're not in the playoffs. So, that's all I got, man. It has not been a fun season, but I thank you those who tuned in every week for my reactions to the Dolphins and whether they lose or win. I love coming on here talking about my favorite team when it's bad most of the time, but now it is the off season. Thank the Lord. We're not going to talk Dolphins until free agency. And yeah, man, we're going to be back with wrestling content, and we'll do 76ers content here and there here on the Big Fight Field channel. So, all right, y'all. I'll see you later tonight to talk about Monday Night Raw on Netflix. I'll see you then. Peace.